Check 1 2 check. How y'all doing? This is attempt number 3 at making this video. Yeah, as the title suggests, we're gonna be talking about Rekordbox and Serato, like always. And if you're a Serato DJ, how do you transition over to Rekordbox? So let's get right into it. Here in my desktop background, you can see I have a secondary computer. Because I tried to do this earlier with just my MacBook, and it just couldn't handle all the processes. So I got a second computer here with Serato open. So let's say you're a DJ and you want to transition over to Rekordbox in order to play on CDJs at the club, right? That's one reason why you might need to convert your playlists from Serato over to Rekordbox. So let's say you're like me and you spend over a decade using Serato, and you've got all your cues, you've got loops, you've got everything is all hooked up in Serato. So you've done the most color coding and everything. So like all these tracks here, right? So if we go ahead and load one up, we can see what that looks like. They got cues in certain places and whatever. So you don't want to have to do this all over again in Rekordbox. That'd be crazy. It would take forever. So there is a way. So I want to show you guys how to do that. That's one reason why you might want to do it, so you can be more versatile DJ and be able to play on any kind of decks. The other reason why you might want to do it is because I'm sure you guys know recently Pioneer acquired Serato DJ. So they just purchased the entire company, including Serato Studio. So that's big news, and that might be a reason why you might want to, get ready for some good things happening or some bad things. Maybe more Pioneer gear becomes friendlier towards Serato DJ software. Maybe the opposite happens. We don't know. Maybe new gear comes out. In my opinion, my prediction on that subject is Serato will be Pioneer's software for hip hop related or top 40s working DJs, mobile DJs. It'd be for them, kind of like how because typically those guys will have a whole lot of tracks like this, and I do video DJing as well and stuff like that. So for those kind of guys, Serato is gonna live in that spectrum. And also I have a feeling it's going to be geared to, it's already kind of happening. The Rev series controllers are all for Serato. So there's that. They don't quite work with Rekordbox. So I think that's going to be where the divide is. And then of course the club setups, that's going to be Rekordbox. So all the CDJ stuff, all the stuff that has that particular layout, with EQ and effects sections. Anything that looks like a Rev or a DJM S9 or S11 or anything battle style, I think that will stay in the Serato realm. That's my prediction. Anyways, but yeah, I'm not a fan of that move. Like, I do both. I do underground raves, and I need club setups, and I also do hip hop stuff. And I know I want my hip hop. Like, why can't I have a setup that does everything, right? So that's quite annoying that they're putting DJs into these two camps or bandwagons. But let's take a look here at Serato DJ. So the first thing you want to do, if you do want to transfer all your stuff over to Rekordbox, is prepare your set. So you want to make sure that everything is exactly how you want it, right? Once you've done that, go ahead and close Serato. And sometimes it'll give you an option here to tick right underneath here. That'll let you essentially save your backup your music library. Go ahead and check that if it gives you the option. The next thing you want to do is you want to go over to your files, or in Finder if you have a MacBook. I use MacBook for DJing. This is just for this particular example. And then you want to go to your music folder right here, and you want to copy all the contents from top to bottom the entire thing, including the Serato and Serato backup folders, and put that on a separate hard drive. Make sure it's formatted correctly and that it's all good. And that way your music library is backed up. And if something were to happen to your library, you can still, you can still bring it back. So, and this is also how you would transfer over to multiple computers, etc. So go ahead and do that. And once that's done, you need to go over to Record Buddy. You need to go to Google, search Record Buddy 2. If you don't find it, I'll put a link in the description of this video once it uploads. But basically what you want to do is go over to Google, search Record Buddy 2, find the latest download it, and then go ahead and open it. So I'll do that now. Make sure that there are no DJ softwares open before you open this, because it can cause errors and stuff if you have Serato or Rekordbox or one of these softwares open while you're doing this. So it tells you here, okay, I understand and have backups. So it's telling you that it's a beta software and, use it at your own risk kind of thing. So there's that. We're going to go ahead and say, okay, I understand I have backups. Now, inside Record Buddy, that's where it gets interesting. We can see all our Serato playlists. So it'll take a little while for them to load, but it's going. And essentially what we're going to do is drag our Serato playlist into our Rekordbox playlists. And so I've already have them there because I've done it in the past on this computer. But essentially you would go and grab any playlist you want, and you would just grab it and you would just drag it up into this playlist text. So I'll do one as an example. So I want this one. So I'm going to grab it, drag it up into the Rekordbox playlist text right there. So go ahead and drop it in right there. Cool. It's copying. And this doesn't actually send the files there. All your files still live in your music folder. Serato, iTunes, Rekordbox, they just access those files and organize them in their own way, which is why none of them are compatible. Hopefully in the future this all kind of ends and we're able to just use one for everything, But at the moment, this Record Buddy tool is how you would do it to go to Rekordbox. So once that's done and you got all your playlists exactly how you want them, go ahead and click the X to close it out and hit Save Changes. If you don't hit Save Changes, it won't actually do the work. Cool. So, as a bonus in this video, we'll take a look at Denon's software, Engine Prime, and how this works. Because if you want to go on Denon, basically, if you want to DJ on Denon decks, you can do HID mode with Serato, and that will work. It will not work with Rekordbox, but it will work with Serato. Or B, you can export how I'm showing you now to Rekordbox, your entire playlist, send that to a flash drive, like a little flash drive I have here. And basically, if you plug that flash drive into a Denon Prime deck, it will automatically load up all your stuff. It will import your Rekordbox playlist. So Engine will do Serato and Rekordbox. It just won't do Rekordbox DJ off the laptop, which is totally understandable. That it would be crazy if it could do everything. But if you see here on the Engine Prime software, there's already a Serato collection here. Like I can just access my Serato collection directly from Engine DJ, and you can plug this in via an Ethernet cord or a USB and just play off of that. So that's pretty amazing. Or you can export it on a USB. But I'm going to show you the better way so you don't have to actually ever really deal with Denon DJ. It's just, just a cool side note that they already have these functions built in, which is what Rekordbox should be doing, and Serato, to be honest. Serato doesn't accept libraries from anyone except for iTunes. So let's go ahead and open Rekordbox. And we'll take a look at what we did. So I've noticed myself that Rekordbox is hella slower compared to all the softwares. It's just the slowest one, and it crashes often. Rekordbox has still some issues. It's been years since it's been around now. They gotten better, but there are still some issues. That's just me crying. Cool. So we're in Rekordbox and we're in export mode. So there are several different modes depending on what plan you pay for, which is also super annoying that they require you to subscribe if you want to use Rekordbox DJ, if you want to use their video features or whatever. But for now, we're going to be in export mode, and we're going to go and head over here to the rekordbox.xml file. So you can see this is the file that contains the playlist we just imported. So there is the playlist I want, this grime playlist. So what you want to do is, if it's not there, hit the refresh button and it should appear. And then you want to grab that, and same thing, you want to drag it into the playlists text. Drop it right in there. Don't drop it on top of another playlist because it'll merge and do weird stuff. So just to be safe, drop it into the physical text here. So it's importing, and it's very important that when you do this, you have your sync settings set up so that it doesn't analyze BPM. Because if it analyzes BPM, it's going to do it twice. And it doesn't matter that much, but basically it'll just take longer. So you might want to have that function disabled if you've already, done all your BPMs and corrections in Serato, which most of us, do. I do that for all my tracks. If they're doubled or if they're halved, if they're whatever, you got to fix that stuff. And you can see here from the collection that it does transfer your color coding, it does transfer your cues, and it does transfer your loops. The only thing it doesn't, Record Buddy doesn't do, is videos. So this won't work if you're trying to transfer over and be a video DJ. You'd have to do your entire video collection separately. There's no way to do that at the moment, at least. So here's the playlist, and you can see it's analyzing the tracks, and it's going by pretty quick. It's like 200-300 tracks analyzing. Some of them are already analyzed, as you can see. A lot of them are already analyzed because maybe there's duplicates inside these other playlists. So yeah, that's how you would do that. So then the next thing is you want to export onto a flash drive, right? So you can go ahead and plug your flash drive in and then open Sync Manager. And I'll make a whole nother video on how to export a USB flash drive in Rekordbox, just because every time I'm out doing a gig, which I'm heading out to a gig in a few minutes to do sound, and every time I'm doing sound renting stuff, people's flash drives are not formatted correctly, they don't work. Then they blame it on me, they blame it on the decks. People hate using Denon Prime stuff. It's crazy. People want CDJ 3000s just so they can train wreck on them because they can't even beat match. It's insane out here in the LA underground rave scene. But I digress. Yes, so it will transfer over all your cues, all your waveforms, everything, and you can set up your Rekordbox playlist to look like your Serato playlist. You can clone it. Some other things you can do to make it more comfortable as a Serato user on Rekordbox is, I can show you that stuff in a second. Let's go to the settings tab, and we can see here there are keyboard shortcuts here, right? So you need to do this when you're not in export mode, when you're in performance mode, but all of this can be switched out and it can be used to be exactly like Serato keyboard shortcuts. If you're like me and you've been DJing for years on Serato, you know all the shortcuts: TY pitch bend, GH pitch bend, ER pitch up down, DF pitch up down, 1 2 3 4 5 6 keyboard shortcuts, whatever, like loops, and all the stuff is on the keyboard. If you want it to be exactly like Serato, you can make it exactly like Serato. So that's a cool thing that Rekordbox lets you do. The other thing you can do, this is where you map all your stuff. I've already done all this, map everything to be exactly like Serato. That way I don't have trouble switching back and forth or press a button and it does something weird. Yeah, the other thing you want to do is when you plug in your flash drive is make sure all your CDJ settings are exactly how you want them, so that when you export to your flash drive, all these settings go to your whatever club setup you're connecting to. So the settings can be different. Not only does your music export, but also the settings will export, which is great. And you can color code stuff. You can do all kind of stuff. So yeah, those are some things I do to make Serato more comfortable. Make sure the waveforms are RGB. Make sure that the cue is set up so that it is momentary until you press play. Otherwise, if you hit the cue button, it will just play. It will start playing like a one shot, and you don't want that. You want it to be momentary switches for cues if you are coming from Serato. So go ahead and change those settings. All of them, you can find them here in the preferences. Okay, so what else can you do? So let's say you want to switch over to Rekordbox as a Serato replacement, right? Let's say Serato went defunct, and all Serato users have to figure out how else they're going to continue DJing. So now you bought yourself a Rekordbox mixer. I have a DJM 450 right here off frame that I'll show you guys in a second. So let's say you are switching over to Rekordbox fully just because, for whatever reason. So if we go into performance mode, this is where it's basically just like Serato. And in performance mode, here are all the tracks, exactly how we want them. So let's go ahead and do. I'm gonna grab. This new Ventura Mac update is super awesome. It lets you use your iPhone as a camera source in OBS Studio, which is super amazing because it's wireless. So I'm gonna grab the camera and I'm gonna pan it over to the CDJ setup I have here, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Give me 1 second. Yes, sir. So here we are. So I just copped these 900 Nexus and the DJM 450 combo. Looks sick, right? Sick ass little setup. So I'm gonna rent these later on tonight. But here I have a flash drive. I've plugged it in. So maybe let's just, or hold on. Okay, there we go. So if you have your settings exported, you get to choose the color. So you can see that there. You get to choose the color of the display. But also, if you are in USB mode, you get all your playlists, you get all your cues, you get everything. So that's the USB mode. So let's go ahead and eject it. So I've ejected this drive, which I recently exported using Rekordbox. So now I'm going to show you how Rekordbox looks as a Serato clone in a HID mode. So to do HID mode, you would need 3 USB cables. There's one in the back of the CDJ. There's one coming out of this mixer right here, this blue one, and there's another one on that CDJ there. So once you've done all that, on your CDJ, go over to link mode. And it says USB MIDI, push to connect. And it's going to ask you what deck you want to use. Deck 1 or deck 2. So I'm going to choose deck 1 because this is the left side. And now we are in controller mode. So you can see up there in the laptop, if I scroll, it will scroll through that playlist. So here, let's take a look. So there it is, scrolling through the playlist. I'm going to select a track. I'm going to hit play. I'm not gonna play the track because I'll get copyrighted. But essentially, you can see that it's functioning. And I've noticed that Rekordbox has slight issues with USB dropouts on my MacBook Pro. On this Windows machine, seems to be okay. So that's something to know. I feel like Serato is way more stable, just way more stable of a software. But anyways, that's how you would run Serato HID mode. And you would need a mixer that will unlock Rekordbox, like this DJ M450. And you could go on their website and check compatibility for all these units, and find yourself a mixer that's compatible with Rekordbox if you're looking to transition over to Rekordbox HID mode like this. You can see there are some switches here to go from computer to line to phono. And if you're like me and you want a club setup that like this that works with Serato, but you don't want a 4-channel, you want a 2-channel, then you can still get this mixer, but instead of using it in Rekordbox HID mode, you're gonna use it with this. It's a Denon Prime DJ box, and basically this acts like the old school Rain SL boxes, except none of those work anymore. This one still works though because it's class compliant. So go ahead and copy yourself one of these. They don't sell them new anymore, but you can find one on the used market if you look. And basically, if you switch your mixer over to line input, so we'll go set this up real quick. Line inputs, and we'll close out Rekordbox entirely, and we're gonna open up Serato. So we'll try to use HID mode in Serato, see how it works. We'll take the USB cable as well. Cool. So I plugged in the Serato box, and Serato's thinking. So as soon as it turns on, we'll connect the decks and see how that works. Oh, it needs a driver. Well, I know it works, and I've used these before, but basically, yeah, it needs a driver because this is a Windows machine. But I typically would use this machine to DJ a MacBook Pro M1, and with this machine you don't need any drivers, but I haven't quite set it up, so I feel like I've shown you guys enough examples of what it's like to go from Serato to Rekordbox. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you guys for tuning in. This was just a quick way for me to create this entire video without having to actually splice and make clips and stuff. So thank you guys for putting up with the low quality production. Man, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.